Great.
Okay, so shall we start?
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, so happy. Thank you so much, Jason, for accepting my invitation today. And we are going to discuss about Moxie Protocol and Airstack and how people can benefit from Moxie and creators economy. So let's head on the questions. First thing that I was very confused was that Moxie is a protocol. It's not like a client of Farcaster, and it's built by Airstack, which is totally different, a new company. I never heard of it before. Pardon it. But it was written like you said, or somebody on the cast said it wants to grow the GDP of Farcaster. What exactly that means?
Yeah, so back up a little bit. First of all, I've been building in kind of the intersection of the creator economy and new technologies for back 20 years now, actually. The first company I started was on social media, and we were disrupting kind of the way people get their news every day. And the idea was enabling people to get it from their news curated by their friends and the people they follow, rather than just the big media organizations. This was back in 2008, and
Oh, wow.
social media grew to really big, like 6 million users. We sold the company. We had a bidding war to buy the company. I then created a company called Fab.com, which helped independent designers sell directly to consumers, and that became a unicorn as well. So I have this long history of working at like the helping disrupt kind of systems and making them more democratized and fair for all. After that, after in 2016, I started a company called Peepo. And Peepo, the whole idea of Peepo, get this, was a decentralized social network that enabled people to earn with their friends and their followers rather than giving all the money to the big platforms. And essentially, it was the concept behind like Farcaster or Moxie just way too soon, 8 years ago. And we wrote out like this whole white paper of how kind of creators would be able to earn, and they'd be able to share their earnings with the people who supported them. And so it's like everyone's helping each other, winning together in this whole kind of new like network economy. And what we learned back then, it was just too early to build that. And we ended up building a lot of technologies. Like there was no base chain, there was no layer twos. There was like, so we ended up building a lot of technologies like layer two technology. We also built a better wallet technology back then. And we we're just waiting for our moment to come back and kind of work on these concepts. And I started a company called Airstack a couple of years ago in 2022 in April. And we knew that we wanted to build like the tools and the kind of the applications for the new kind of social networks. And so Airstack was basically a data API company and kind of basically built products that help people build better applications on chain, and specifically focused on identity and social. And very quickly, we became very focused on Farcaster. We also looked at things like Lens and XMTP, ENS, POAP. Airstack was basically the best API provider for all of that. But in July of 2022, I became the 602nd person to join Farcaster. And I immediately knew that there was something special going on. And I think part of it is just from my history of being involved in social networks for a while. Is one thing that I've learned is that it's actually the technology part is not the hardest part. Building community and getting people to stick to a product is the hardest part. And I saw that even at a small user base, they had that, right? And so we started like really focusing on Farcaster, and Airstack built our whole business around enabling Farcaster applications, clients, frames, when frames launched. And then, so earlier this year, when Farcaster Frames launched, Airstack built some of the leading frames. We had tens of thousands of users on our frames. We had a mint frame that had 65,000 mints from it. We had a swap frame that had over $3 million in volume through our frames back in April. And we just decided, you know what? This is the right time, right place for us to lean in and build a protocol that fills the gaps where the Farcaster team wasn't focused. And what we saw was that the Farcaster team was very focused on building more of the social aspects, the kind of things like communities and channels and kind of the Legos of like applications and frames. And what they weren't focused on, and they didn't say that they were not going to focus on for the next few years, was the financialization layer. And we saw an opportunity to create a protocol that would basically be this financialization layer of Farcaster that would enable kind of these concepts of enabling people to earn and to share their earnings and help with their fans and followers and support each other. And so we call this grow the Farcaster GDP is like the mission. And the idea is, so the GDP is like the size of the economy, right? And we said, okay, how can we create a structure that enable everyone to build better applications, better frames, to enable creators, artists, community leaders to earn, and to do so in a way where they support each other as they do. And so that was basically the concept behind Moxie. And we launched the Moxie protocol on July 29th. And it's a protocol, not a client. And what that means is, so our team, Airstack, we build some frames. We build like a little bit of kind of user experience to help people get started and navigate Moxie. But we build as a protocol, really, it enables anyone to build on it. And so there's actually, today, there's over 200 different frames and applications that are already built on Moxie in less than 90 days.
Wow,
And and so we build essentially this economic layer to Farcaster, that there's these
Is it
concepts
like a
of
layer two kind of? For example, I don't have a lot of knowledge, but it's like Ether, and then you have like layer two of, I don't know, optimism or other stuff. So the same logic for Moxie, like here's Farcaster.
It's a similar concept. It's, if they like, Farcaster is like the social network. And Moxie enables essentially this financialization layer on top of it. So one of the core concepts of Moxie is that what we call fan tokens. And the idea is like everyone loves being like a fan, supporting their friends. And what Moxie allows is for any person on Farcaster or any channel community to launch their own fan token. And when you have a fan token, it provides all sorts of benefits for the fans. And so one of the key benefits is that whenever someone is earning rewards through the Moxie protocol, and there's this constant kind of flow of people earning rewards through the Moxie protocol, the rewards are automatically shared with their fans as well. So you have, okay, I become your fan, and every time you earn a reward, I get a piece of it. It perpetuates this kind of this shared economy, network state kind of concept. It was actually Balaji who actually said, like a year ago, he said, hey, it would be really cool if someone were to enable technology that would enable channels to earn money and for the members of the channels to all share in those earnings. That's exactly what Moxie's doing today.
Oh, wow. So on the rewards part, like how is decided? For example, I post something, I write a newsletter, for example, about Japan, and I post that. The system will recognize it based on the how many likes or engagement or shares, perhaps, like recasting.
So what the system does is we wanted to build something that's like farmer resistant. And what I mean by that is, so if it was just based on the number of likes, it's very easy for people to game it. You just build lots of bots and like it. So what we did is we built all these like quality of engagement metrics. And these quality of engagement metrics is not just how many, it's who is liking something or replying or recasting. But the idea though is that anyone can be a power user if other people appreciate their content. And so the idea is that the better the content you're creating and the more people actually value it and appreciate it, the higher your stature becomes in the community. And then you give more Moxie, the more you engage with other people. And so that's the principles behind it. And what we did is, so before Moxie, there was this, still there, it's just a different concept. There's a token called Degen, which led a big boom, I think, back in
culture.
And the idea of Degen, which was, it was great. Degen pioneered this, was that every time someone casted something, that you could just like reply 100 Degen or 500 Degen, and it would send a tip to the person. We saw that as really interesting, but we also thought, okay, there could be a better way. And the better way was, we thought, was rather having to have implicitly tipped someone, explicitly tip someone, instead that the kind of the rewards are implicit. And that is, you get rewards automatically based on who engages, rather than someone having to say, hey, here's a tip, here's a tip, here's a tip, and flood, almost like flooding the comments, right? And so that's what Moxie did, is we enabled to say, like these kind of like tips or appreciation just happens in the background based on who is engaging with your content and how much the network appreciates it.
Yeah. If for example, somebody casts something cool and I get a reward in Moxie, would it be possible for me to trade that as well? Or I need to keep it as an allowance or something?
So Moxie is a token, and so Moxie is a token on the base blockchain. Every day, people on Farcaster, they are able to claim the Moxie that they earn as rewards. And when you claim your Moxie that you earn as rewards, you can either transfer it to whatever you want with it, or you can use it immediately to buy other people's fan tokens, to gift fan tokens, to give rewards to your fans. And what's actually most interesting is that the #1 use right now of those Moxie rewards is people just buying more fan tokens. And so the actual usage of the protocol has just been extraordinary so far. Over half of the tokens that are in circulation of Moxie tokens are now locked in the Moxie protocol in fan tokens. So literally there's this flow of every day people get rewards, and 70–80% of it goes right back into supporting the protocol.
That's
The
amazing.
other,
So
yeah.
everybody who is posting like cool stuff, they can get this fan token and can get more. So the key message here is post more cool things, more interesting content.
What we say is post great content, get
Yeah,
rewards. It's that simple. Yeah.
yeah,
And some people they struggle with it because how do I get people to pay attention to my content? What is great
yeah, yeah.
content? But I think the network figures that out over time. And yeah.
You need a lot of patience. Like when I started Farcaster, I first of all, this is my first time to receive a lot of followers. And in the beginning, I was checking like, oh, somebody follows me, so happy. And then after that, I realized that I didn't care anymore about how many followers I was having, but what I was caring is that I could talk to founders like you and I could give
Yeah.
feedback. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool because I cannot do this on Twitter. But here I can talk to founders, I can try their products, and I can give them a feedback. And that helped a lot. And I think people who wants to try Farcaster and Moxie, they need to try and play around and test and experiment. Otherwise, you cannot understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read a little bit and I know the answer for this, but I don't know if
Mhm.
other people know it. For example, on the creator's economy, when the creator posts something, he earns Moxie, half of the Moxie, and then the other half, how is distributed?
Yeah.
Is it
So think about this
distributed to
like, yeah.
the channel fan token or other
Yeah,
users?
so things like Moxie is like multi-layered, and the multi-layers of it is that users have fan tokens, we call it members have fan tokens, and then channels can have fan tokens as well. And whenever a member earns rewards, which happens with every cast they do or every frame they interact with, every interaction on Farcaster, there's basically a set of rewards that are earned by them. And those rewards then are automatically split to essentially all the people who help you earn those rewards. And so the way these splits work is the typical split is basically the user's fans get about 20% of the rewards. The channel that they cast it into gets 20% of the rewards. And then we have 10% of the rewards go to kind of everyone who's a fan of the overall Farcaster network. And
Okay.
so essentially it's 50% to the user and 50% to all the enablers. Now, the
Yes.
users also have the ability to change those splits in a cool way. So they can't adjust the amount that goes to the channels, but they can say, let's say a user says, I want to give away more to my fans. They can go more than 20% and they give 50% or 90% even to their fans, which is pretty cool. A lot of users have done that. And for channels, it's like we turn every channel into kind of like member owners of the channel. And that's really exciting because then it's like the channel essentially is giving distribution or allowing content to come into that channel community. And the members of the channel are getting rewards every single time that happens.
Yeah, I saw today, I was trying to do some changes on Moxie on Airstack page, I think. And then every time I try to do change, it comes as a message to me on Farcaster, on Webcast.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that everything that I need to do for Moxie is through Webcast, is not on the Moxie website.
Yeah.
But I wanted to change the reward because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to change
So
both
this is on
websites.
purpose. This is
Ah,
on
okay.
purpose. The reason why we did this is two reasons. One is we just wanted to leave lots of open area, lots of open space for third-party developers to build on the Moxie protocol. And we're like, if we enabled you to do everything on Airstack, then no one else would jump in. No one else. I'd be like, Airstack's going to keep innovating, keep building. It's not no use for me to build anything. So we're like, you know what? Like you can build something better than us is like our message. And an example is there's a guy, Lee Knowlton, who's actually based in Okinawa, who he's built a tool called Moxie Scout. And Moxie Scout is a full website that is much more feature rich, better than the Airstack website. You can do everything there. You don't need to go into frames. And that's great. That's exactly what we want. Use Moxie Scout. And then Supercast, Wildcard, our Farcaster clients that have built Moxie and fan tokens right into it. And they have functionality that we don't have. And that's great. That's what we want as well. The
That's
other
great.
reason, yeah. And the other reason is we also I really feel like it's best to meet people where they are. And people are on Warpcast. They're not on Airstack's website. And the last thing I wanted to do was to build all this functionality into Airstack website, have people like check it out for a day and never come back. And so instead we said, okay, let's use all the Legos, all the building blocks that the Farcaster team has given us and build everything as much as possible right into Farcaster.
Wow, that's amazing. I never thought of it. Meet where your users
Meet people
are.
where they are. Yeah.
Meet
Yeah. It's
people
like, it's
there.
very hard to get your users to go somewhere else. And
Yeah.
this is actually, I've been building in technology for 20 years now. And it's one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they think, if I build it, the users will come. And typically what happens in consumer technology is everyone checks out a project for a week and then they churn, they move on. It's very hard to get users to come back. And we're like, let's not have that problem. We know people are on
Very
Farcaster every
smart.
single day. Meet them
Very
right
smart.
there. Yeah,
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 I love
yeah.
this. Another point that I didn't understand very well was the Farscore. For example, I had 0 point and I couldn't understand well what does that mean and if I can
Yep.
increase this or if it drops if I'm not active or yeah.
Yeah. So a FAR score is essentially it's a measure of like how much Moxie you can give with every engagement. And the FAR score has different components. So first there's like the organic component of the FAR score, which is really just a measurement of like how much influence you have on across the Farcaster network relative to other users. That number never goes down. That only goes up. And then there's other ways you can boost your FAR score. You can boost your FAR score the more you're active in the Moxie ecosystem. You can boost it by becoming a Moxie liquidity provider. And then the higher your FAR score, the more your engagements actually help other people earn Moxie.
Oh, okay. For example,
Yeah.
Jesse Pollack had very good score. I forgot now what it
Yeah.
was, but I was searching around and I play
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, okay. I'm not jealous or anything, but I was trying to understand
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that works. And today I also tried to make I own a Japan channel and it's getting very well and I wanted to make a fan token for my members. But when I did this, it says to me that I have only like 269 tokens available or something. And I couldn't understand, is this like lifetime supply or does it change? How can we understand this? Can more be issued in the future as well?
Yeah, yeah. So the way the fan tokens work is when you launch a fan token, and it's really easy, you just click a couple buttons and you launch a fan
Yeah.
token. There's first an auction for 72 hours. And this kind of creates like excitement about, hey, new fan tokens available. Let's everyone jump in and become Ina's fan. And during that 72-hour period in this auction, there's a fixed amount. So there's an amount, let's say 5,000 of Ina's fan tokens are available in this auction. And so everyone's scrambling to get at the same price. The auction closes, everyone gets those fan tokens at the same price, like the highest price that people are willing to bid that would sell all the fan tokens in the auction. After the fan token auction closes, all of that moves into what's called the Moxie Protocol bonding curve, which is basically it's a smart contract that enables people to continue buying and selling fan tokens from the contract. And at that point, there's an unlimited supply of the fan tokens that every time you want to buy more, it slightly increases the price for the next person. And every time you sell, it slightly decreases the price for the next person. And you can keep buying on those fan tokens as much as you want.
Yeah, so this is like a mathematical logic, I think, in trading that it doesn't create this high slippage on the markets.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing that it does is we used what's called a logarithmic bonding curve. It purposely, so there were previous technologies before Moxie that like were like all these like exponential crazy bonding curves or like really ripe for speculation. We used the logarithmic bonding curve that really it keeps things like they grow slightly, but it's not really meant for just like rampant speculators. And part of the reason we did this is we didn't want to create a system where people are just buying fan tokens just to speculate. We wanted really that there's value and purpose to being a fan. There's the sharing and rewards, but there's also access to special features and to make it accessible for everyone.
Yeah. Um, because now everybody can create exactly the creator's economy. And if you put some skin in the game, you can earn as well. And I think it also like removes the middleman, Jason. It's like
Yeah,
really peer to peer. Like before, if you create something, you have to pay some money to Meta or like Facebook, Instagram.
exactly,
But
exactly.
but now it's like that is removed. So this part I'm very excited to be honest to
Yeah.
remove the middleman and get the benefit. So
Yeah, if you think about like in traditional social networks, there's so much of the value capture goes to the platform. And with Moxie, the value goes entirely to the users who are creating the value. And we're actually about to launch, we're about 2 weeks away from launching a new product called Moxie Promote. And again, and the other side of Moxie Promote is what we call Moxie Earn. There's two sides of the same coin. So Moxie Promote enables any advertiser or any user who wants to like basically essentially to promote their content to other users on Farcaster using Moxie. And the way the promotion works is that you essentially put like how much Moxie rewards you're willing to provide for people who help get engagement for your content. But still the rewards are based on the quality of engagement. So you can't, it's not just about just like juicing the numbers of like more likes. It's still based on that quality and like who engages. And so going back to the same thing is that all the money that goes into Moxie Promote from third parties, from advertisers and sponsors who want to leverage the Farcaster network, all that goes right to the users and their fans rather than to Farcaster team or Moxie team. It just all goes back into perpetuating the system.
But what the Moxie team earns here, isn't it sad? Or I don't know.
No, that's okay. We're building a protocol, and the idea of a protocol is that you're building enabling technology that creates more and more usage of the protocol and the token that's required to use the protocol. That's our whole purpose.
That's very noble. I didn't think of that. It's so nice of you and your team, of course. Does this new feature makes like for new users to be discovered through Moxie easier in a way, or
Absolutely.
mostly promote the old like OG people or stuff like that?
Yeah, a big part of our mission is to enable everyone to earn, but really earn based on great content, right? And like the idea is we want people to help curate the content for other people. And because every time you interact with someone's content, they're able to earn Moxie, and also helps every time on social network you interact with someone's content, helps bubble it up for more people. The idea is that, okay, so if you have a high Farscore, you have a lot of curation influence in the network, both in terms of who's going to see the content as well as how much people can earn. And we really want people to use that and take advantage of it. And so that's the idea, is we want to bubble up. Great content is everywhere, right? There is, for instance, there's a woman who joined Farcaster just a couple months ago, right around the time Moxie launched. Her name is Afro Chicks, and she
I followed her. I follow her. She's amazing.
She's amazing, right? And so this is someone who, like, she literally started at zero. She knew nobody when she came onto Farcaster. She did not get a Moxie airdrop. So we did airdrop a 10% of the token supply to Farcaster users when we launched. She didn't get one because she wasn't there. It was only for people who had engaged on Farcaster in the 90 days prior to Moxie launch. She didn't get any of that. So she started from scratch, literally from zero. And she knew nobody, and she just started creating great content. And she's earned over 1 million Moxie now. So she's earned over $2,800 of Moxie in the last 85 days, just because people recognize good content.
Yeah, I follow her, and she does a lot of exercises, and I try to do those, but I haven't done a lot of
and we've got lots of cases of this, and this is exactly how this is intended to work.
I hope like here on Network School, like more people can use Moxie and can promote different type of idea, because what they work is very interesting. So I think they can give a lot of value to community. So basically anybody can start from zero, and then they can grow with little by little consistency, and everybody can make it. That's very important. But so my last question would be like, for developers like who wants to build on Moxie, like what type of help do they get, or like what type of benefits would they get if they
a couple of things. One is we have a Moxie Retro Grant program, and the Moxie Retro Grant program is we provide grants to developers based on what they have already built. So the idea of a retro grant is, rather than just giving away free tokens for people to spend any way they want, you reward people who are making contributions to actually grow the ecosystem. The first Moxie Retro, called Retro 1, was for contributions from the launch of Moxie to September 30. So the first essentially 62 days. And we actually had over 200 applicants for Moxie Retro 1. We're announcing today there's 120 projects that are eligible for a grant that was voted on by the community. And then there's going to be a second round of voting by the entire all Moxie token holders, all Moxie DAO, starting tomorrow, which is for the top 23 projects. We're going to share a big kind of pool of Moxie. And then we're immediately starting Moxie Retro 2, which is a second wave of Retro. And again, it's for building things that help the ecosystem. Now, in addition to providing these Retro grants, the other benefit that developers have really realized is it's not just about the grants. It's also that one of the things, because people earn Moxie every single day, applications like the Rainbow Wallet, for instance, saw this right away. They saw 2 days after Moxie launched, they said, Moxie's bringing people back every single day. If we lean into Moxie and build more Moxie features, more fan token features, it's going to help us grow our application and get more. And that's why Wildcard and that's why Supercast have done the same thing, because Moxie brings people back to Farcaster and to the applications every single day. And that's the biggest benefit right now for everyone.
And claim
exactly. And so you claim it and you do something with it. Exactly.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love this. And where people can apply for this for developer? Is it like on Farcaster, like on channel, they can apply there easily, or on website, or?
Just go to moxie.xyz
Okay.
and everything you need in order to get started as a developer is all right there.
Yes, and follow Airstack and you, of course, Jason,
Yeah, so
and
the
get all the
Airstack, yeah,
information.
yeah. Follow me on Farcaster, betashop.eth, and go to the Airstack channel. Airstack runs the official Moxie channel on
Okay.
Farcaster.
Yes.
And yeah, we're always there to answer any questions you have.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, and sorry for the timing. I
No, it's
appreciate.
great. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Like I learned so much from Moxie, and I'm a big fan now. I'm using it and I'm going to make more content because I really believe on-chain media and I am a content creator. So it makes a lot of sense to own my own data and also remove the middleman. These are my two main concerns. So yeah.
Amazing.
But thank you, Jason, and
Thank
wish
you
you
so much.
a great day.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Yes.